What's up, guys? It is 2020. Welcome back to the sexier relationships, romance, and propaganda podcast with Imani, Shakur, film director extraordinaire, and Rachel K. Burke, author, actress extraordinaire. These are the books on Google and Amazon. As you can see, Love Bites, a rock and roll love story, and Love Bites.
Sound bites.
Sound Bites, sorry. Oops. Last year she said, I remembered, but
he's going to get these titles right.
I'm going to get them right one day. Anyway, guys, we are broadcasting the truth and exposing the lies in 2020 like we did in 2019. It's about everything. Sex, love, relationships, marriage, everything. Don't forget to subscribe. Listen to us where you get your podcast and on ISENT Group Digital. Don't forget to subscribe. We appreciate the love. And today, for the new year, we are going to talk about should cheaters get a second chance? And I say, Rach, no.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding. No. Yeah, I actually do say no. And I'm going to tell you why.
It's so circumstantial, though.
It's circumstantial. It's circumstantial. But for now, I'm going to say no with a disclaimer that I will explain. Let me just say that.
Have you ever been cheated on?
Yes.
Oh.
A couple of times.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. Why do I have to start it off today?
I was just throwing it out there because I didn't know what you were going to say. Have you ever cheated?
Almost once.
Okay. Yeah, you don't seem like you would cheat.
And I can explain. Yeah, almost once. And, you know, it was one of those situations where I kind of was in the moment. And before I could even start the moment, I stopped and was like, what am I doing? And the woman at the time, I was honest with her and told her, and she even heard, I actually, and she didn't ask me to do this, but I actually called the other woman on speaker, and she heard the other woman go, yeah, you didn't even, I don't want to be graphic because I'm trying to promote these shows, but she was like, yeah, you didn't even, you know, do anything. You kind of started and then stopped.
So funny because I made my ex do the same thing. I made him call the other girl on speakerphone.
And she heard it and she was like, oh, okay. And she felt good about it. And the girl stayed with me and we broke up a year later for something completely unrelated to that.
But do you feel like the underlying reason, like that kind of put a hindrance on the relationship?
No, I mean, technically I did cheat, but I didn't go through with the full act of cheating. Right. And I have to say that had I not experienced that, I wouldn't have known what it felt like to cheat on someone. It taught me something. You know what I mean? But yeah,
how did you get to that
broke
point?
Up we broke up for a completely unrelated reason. It was never an issue.
But how did you get to the point where you were going to cheat?
It was with an ex. And she
my ex cheated on me with his ex too.
Right.
Yes.
She was a daughter of someone very famous, probably one of the most famous men in the world. And we were together for years and friends for years. We're still friends to this day. And she came to town and it was me, her, and her sister and her boyfriend and we ended up at a hotel in Pasadena.
So you had a history.
We had a long history.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I said I just couldn't do it. And it was a fun night. We were young and having fun, like my 20s in LA. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I couldn't do it.
I think there's two...
And I'm still friends with the girl, too, who I cheated on, technically not cheated.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't do too much. That's okay.
Nah.
But I think there's two different types of cheaters. You know, I think there are... I think it's all circumstantial. But I think there is the type that, yes, they have a history with somebody, you know, and maybe that's just a one-off. And then I think there are the serial cheaters.
Yes.
That, you know, do it for... I think men and women cheat for different reasons.
I agree.
I think women cheat because they're not getting the attention that they want.
I completely agree.
From their partner.
Yep.
I think men cheat for more physical reasons.
For more physical reasons.
Yeah, they're not getting their physical needs met, and women aren't getting their emotional needs met.
Yep, that's I completely
generally what I've seen.
agree with you.
Because my recent ex, his ex-wife had cheated on him, and once we were together a long time, I was like, I understand it, because he's not emotionally available. He's not emotionally supportive. If you're going through something and you're emotional, he's not the person that you can talk to. And I can understand after years of that, you want someone who's going to you want that emotional attention, you know,
absolutely.
you want that support.
Absolutely.
Because she didn't cheat on him for physical reasons. She actually left him for this guy that she cheated on with, and she ended up marrying him. Mm-hmm. I'm like, because this guy probably paid more attention to her. He probably spoiled her. He probably treated her well, you know, on various aspects. But I'll tell you a story when I did forgive a cheater.
I actually forgave one too, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yes.
As I'm thinking about it, go ahead.
Okay, well, we'll tell yours after. So when I was 23, I started dating my ex in Boston. And he had just got out of an 8-year relationship with basically his high school sweetheart. They had a child and everything. But he and I always had a thing, you know, and it was kind of inevitable. So they broke up. We started dating like immediately. But we were trying to keep it quiet because we knew she was going to be really upset.
Got you.
You know, because she did not want, she didn't want the breakup. Obviously, they had a child, you know, it was a thing. So eventually he told her, and she lost her mind. I mean, like my car got egged, you know,
Are you
like,
serious?
oh yeah. I mean, it was bad. It was bad. Back in the MySpace days, and she, you know, she was sending me messages and everything. So, but it was interesting because, you know, he had said to me, like, I know I haven't been in love with her for years. I stayed with her because we have a child. But once she found out about us, something changed with him. And all of a sudden he got very distant with me. And we had been together a couple of months.
Right.
But he got really distant, and I got, you know, that sick stomach ache that you get when something isn't right. And I was like, what's going on? Something's not right.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, it's, you know, it's fine. I just feel bad because, you know, she's really upset and my son's upset. You know, his son was like 3. My son doesn't know what's going on, this and that. And I bought it, but she started telling people that they were talking about getting back together. And I was like, there's no way. Like, he and I are in a relationship. Yeah. I thought she was nuts. She was not nuts. He actually started backpedaling. So I go over his house one night, and he says that, you know, I got to tell you something. I slept with her last night. And I was like,
goodness.
You what?
Yeah.
I felt like I got punched in the stomach. I mean, it was like, because I didn't see it coming, honestly. I thought she was just being nuts. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, I'm such an idiot. Because she's telling people that they're talking about getting back together, and they probably were. Yeah. You know, and I'm sitting here buying his BS. And I was like, that's it. I'm done. And he was like, please don't leave, you know, this and that. And I said, no, we're done. And he says, I will call her right now. And that's why I made him put her on speakerphone. I go, cool. He called her to tell her that was a mistake and that you love me. He goes, okay, he did it. Serious. He hangs up. I go, cool. Still leaving. Right. Oh, wow. Bye. He stalked me for weeks, would show up at my house in the morning, wouldn't leave, crying. He would call me all day long.
Because he realized he made a mistake.
Yeah.
It was just a physical thing.
Yeah. When it wasn't even physical, it was more of a, I think he was confused because he'd been with her for so long and they had a family. And I think it was one of those, like, do I want to go in this new path?
Or do I want to stay with the family? But he wasn't really happy with her. He was there for the kid. Which isn't healthy.
But this is why I always say people shouldn't jump from relationship to relationship because you don't grieve the old relationship. Right. You don't have time. Yep. So what you do is when you're with the new person, eventually it hits you that it's over with that old person. Right. And then you start to question the new one. So that was what happened. So eventually he just stalked me for so long that he wore me down. And I was like, fine. You know, like he was like threatening to kill himself. I mean, it was like ridiculous. Oh my goodness. I was like, one of those. Fine. Yeah. So I took him back, but I'll tell you something. He never did it again.
Well, that's good, yeah.
But it ruined our relationship.
Yeah.
Because the problem is he became such a pushover because he was so afraid that I was going to do it to him that I kind of almost did. I started liking that guy in the band. Like, that's the guy I was just talking to you about. Because it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, but see, that's that guilt that you put out there that you project on another person.
But he brought that into our relationship.
You pull it in the universe, yeah.
And he got so it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. He was so afraid I was going to leave him that I left him. And we moved in together and everything. I mean, I really gave it a shot. I gave it a year, but he drove me crazy. And I set boundaries. I was like, when you go to her house to pick up your son, you call me the minute you pull in your driveway, you call me the minute you leave. There better be 5 minutes in between. He did it every single time for a year. And he really did. He won my trust back. I didn't worry about him ever again.
But he still harbored these feelings that pull in, Because
the thing is, as soon, like, I loved him to death and I was so afraid of losing him, right? Like, when all that was going on and he was distant, as soon as he told me he cheated on me, I lost total respect for the relationship. It wasn't the same after that. It really wasn't. And, you know, and I still loved him, but it was like in a different way. I feel
because he broke that, what we were just talking about. There's something sacred about two people connecting and sharing that type of intimacy. And if you break it and let someone else in, it's just not the same anymore. And I have to say that.
He broke it.
Just a lesson for our listeners. If the person does accept you back, like in my case, 20 years ago or whatever, don't bring that guilt to the forgiveness because it could ruin it. And that's one thing I made sure I didn't do. I didn't bring the guilt. I said I made a mistake.
Yes.
I'm acknowledging I learned from this, and I've moved on.
Man up, start over.
Yeah, and I started over. I never felt as if she should or would cheat on me after that. And we had a successful relationship. We actually broke up because of her attitude a year later.
Okay.
It was a black girl.
Yeah.
I swear, and I'm not trying to be racist or anything. Seriously, we broke up because of her attitude a year later. Had nothing to do with me almost cheating or whatever you want to call it that I did. But well, had nothing to do with that. So I don't mean to cut you, but my whole lesson real quick was don't bring that guilt into the forgiveness.
Because it ruined
it. It will ruin it.
But even if he didn't, I feel like it still kind of ruined it the second I found out he cheated. Yeah, he broke it.
Because it broke that, what we were talking about,
what we had, you know, I thought was special.
Yeah.
And it's like when you do that, when you step outside of our relationship, you broke that.
You break,
Because it's not even...
I agree.
It's not even the physicality of it. It's the fact that he was lying to me this whole time. Because I would call him and I'm like, she's telling people you guys are getting back together. Because I thought she was nuts. But I'm like, you know what? People don't usually just make that up.
Right.
You know, like that came from somewhere.
Something, yeah.
And I remember at one point she even put on her MySpace page that she was in a relationship. And I was like, well, I'm in a relationship with him, so that doesn't really make sense.
Right.
But something was going on there.
Something was going on.
So it was more of that. It was the betrayal. And it was the first time in my life that I have just felt so naive. Like, because I'm not naive at all. I'm pretty smart. And I was like, oh my God, he has been lying to me this whole time. He actually was thinking about getting back with her.
And all that.
Yeah. But I think there are two types of cheaters, right? I think like in that circumstance, you know, that's the type of cheater that you can forgive. If somebody does it once and they have a history with somebody and they're really, really sorry and they really love you and
they get the mistake and just that and the other.
because he never did it again. He really did. If they're going to do, and you can set rules like I did. I was like, you call me when you pull in her driveway, you call me when you leave. Other than that, no interaction unless it has to do with your son. You know, and he did it for a year. That's okay. The other type of cheater that you don't want to forgive is like the serial cheater. Like if somebody, so I had an affair with somebody who was married a long time ago. And I was not the first woman he had an affair with. I found out afterwards, friend of a friend, you know, he had an affair before me. And he was just a older guy with money who probably does this a lot, you know, or maybe not a lot, but there definitely have been multiple. It's not like that situation, right? With my ex.
That's a serial cheater.
That's a serial cheater.
Doing it, don't need to be in that committed relationship he's supposedly in.
Yes.
He or she is supposedly in.
So in that situation, I would say no. Do not forgive them because now they've established a pattern. And they're going to keep doing it. And especially like older guys with money, kind of a lot of times they can feel entitled. You know, he owned a big company and all of that. So you're used to people doing what you want. You're used to getting your own way. Because when I was 18 and I worked with this guy and we got into something. And I ended up finding out like right before we got together that he was engaged. And by that point, I was like so in love with this guy. I was stupid. I got into something with him anyways. But karma. So he was a lot older than me. I was 18 and he was like 30 at the time, which is a big age difference. But he lived on like the other side of Massachusetts. And so, there's no way we would have known any of the same people. He was like 12 years older. So he comes over to my house one day and I have a picture of my best friend from high school. And he says, "Oh my God, I know her." And I said, "What do you mean you know her?" And his fiance was friends with one of my best friends. It was like my best friend, one of my best friends, her brother's godmother was his fiance.
Wow.
And he's like, "I was just at their house for Christmas." And I'm like, "What? They live in my hometown. Like, how did you not tell me this?"
Right.
I think he just didn't put it together. So, of course, I end up telling my friend. My friend tells her mom. The mom tells the fiance. She finds out. I think they still... Imagine finding out at 30 years old your fiance is sleeping with an 18-year-old. I'd kill him. She still married him anyways, and a few months later, she found out he was cheating with a new girl he worked with.
See?
This is what I'm saying. It's like these people...
People like that, they don't deserve to be forgiven. If someone makes a mistake, like one mistake, and they regret it, you can get past it.
Yeah, and especially if they have a history with that person.
Yeah.
Because you know what? I'll put it on myself, too. Like with my ex, I rushed into it with him way too quickly. I knew after 8 years he was not ready to date. Right. And I would say that to him, and because he's like, we can start slow. But he just jumped right in, right? And you know, it was too quick, and I knew he wasn't ready. Yeah. So I should have paced it. I should have given him time to grieve and get over it. You know, it's just you don't think that way when you're 23. But yeah, I think those are the two different scenarios. And
I completely agree with Rachel. I mean, I've forgiven one person that cheated, but like you say, it still wasn't the same after.
Yeah, well,
even though I was going to ask you
about that. Like, what happened with your situation?
Even after, it was a Slovakian girl I was dating who lives in Burbank.
Okay.
And we were together for a couple of years, and you know, she ended up cheating with this guy she used to see before I'd gone out of the country, you know, to help my friend plan his wedding, and it happened while I was gone. And the only reason why she even told me is because she had thought she had given me something.
Oh.
That's the only reason why she told me, because she had to.
Only reason my ex told me was because his ex would have told me.
Yeah. And come to find out, I didn't have anything. I went and got checked.
Okay.
But I think he had something and told her, and she knew she had unprotected sex with him.
Right.
And she knew she had unprotected sex with me when I came back.
Yeah, it's like if you're going to cheat on someone, use protection.
Exactly.
Jeez.
And I was like, excuse me? And I was so pissed off. And, you know, and she explained it and this, that, and the other. And I you know, against who I am, accepted her back.
Okay.
But like with you, it just wasn't the same after that. It was already broken. And we ended up breaking up
the trust
shortly after. Yeah, I didn't trust him anymore after that. I'm not going to lie.
And even if they win your trust back, it's still
I didn't trust after
still
that.
not the same.
It's not the same.
Yeah. I know there's something that happens that just...
I can't,
that it just breaks it. You know? It's like, I thought we had something special.
Right.
But if you would have stepped outside of that, then we don't have what I thought we had.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel. Exact same way. I can't, Rach. I mean, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. If the person, you know, so I knew. Okay, so I have a friend whose ex-wife told him, "You can cheat, but with boundaries." And tell me if this is true or not.
Okay.
Women care if you're emotionally attached to that woman. She told my friend,
"Oh yeah,
if you have a one-night stand, I don't care. One and done, use something, don't bring nothing home. But if you see her again, it's over."
Yeah.
Because her rule was, I know if it's once, it's physical. Yeah. I know if it's more than once, now it's become emotional. She had like this rule. It was weird. I was like, that's interesting.
Well, that
what I mean?
Does
that make sense as a woman?
Yes, because I was going to say, well, two things. One is the guy that I met. Yeah, this was, I mean, like 10 years ago. But I was just like stupid in my 20s. I just moved to LA. I didn't know that this guy at the time that I had the affair with was married when I met him, because he didn't wear a wedding ring. He didn't have any picture. He would say like, "Oh, I have my son on the weekends," and that to me means you're divorced.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, right?
Of course.
So I totally felt,
and that's what he wanted you to think.
Absolutely. Yeah. So when you're in your 20s, you're just an idiot. So I totally fell for him. He would text me all the time. So he finally asked me out to dinner. I thought we were on a date. Like I was so dumb, and I drank all this champagne, and I think he waited till I got good and drunk to lay the bomb on me that he was married, and I was like, "What? What do you mean? Like you've been sending me all these flirty messages. You don't wear a ring, you know." And he was just like, "We don't have a good relationship, this and that, you know." But it's like sometimes people get in your head because some friends of mine will say, like, "Rachel, you don't know what his life is like at home. She might want him to be with somebody else. She's probably sick of him. Like she's probably in it for the money, you know."
Yeah,
she
who
probably
knows?
Has her like you don't know.
She's probably with someone else too, and blah blah blah.
Or just like. I think because he was like 50 at the time. So it's like when you're 50, you probably don't even want to sleep with him anymore, you know, or anyone. Right. You probably have a comfortable life. You're probably happy he's out not bugging you for something at the end of the day. So, I mean, who knows? You don't know what anyone's relationship is like. But I will say after, you know, we got into it for a while, I do think he got emotionally attached to me a little, as much as he can, because he was very stoic, and he didn't really, but he did start saying things like, you know, I can't even like take you on a proper date. He would buy me jewelry sometimes, like do like things to be sweet. You know, and he did start saying things like that, like in his own way. I think he did get a little attached to me. But yes, there is a such thing as an emotional affair too.
That's what I'm saying. And in this case, she was saying, if you do the second time, then I know it's emotional.
But even if you're not sleeping with them, because you know, a friend.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. It could be cheating just the same.
Right, because I was just talking to a friend of mine about this. The one that I said, you know, she's friends with her ex, and she thinks they're like twin flames or whatever, and because what happened, I hope she doesn't mind me talking about this, but what happened was she's very open with her husband, and you know, told him they were good friends and everything. Her husband doesn't care. Her ex's wife found their messages and went off, and they can't talk anymore. Like it's done. But my friend said, you know, I didn't realize until she flipped out and I really looked at it that we were kind of having an emotional affair. Yeah, you know, but I understand why his wife was upset, because he didn't tell his wife, and she was like, I was telling him to be honest with her. He said she's not going to understand, you know, this and that, and she wouldn't have understand. She's a hothead. But that can happen too, where you're so attached to someone emotionally that even though you're not doing something physically, it almost can be worse. I think.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, how does that feel? I mean, is that just as bad, being emotionally cheated on? I wonder how I would feel. I almost
think it's worse because you can cheat with anyone and just have a one-night stand with somebody you don't care about. I would rather that than someone
be emotionally attached to my lady.
Like,
and they talk and they're always...
Or your lady being emotionally attached to someone else.
That's what I'm saying,
you. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Because it's the lying, it's the deception.
Yeah, because you have to continue that.
It's like, it's that they're going to someone else instead of you.
Yep.
Because I even felt like that with my ex. Like, he was super...
That's true.
He was super close with his sisters. And we went through some stuff that he wouldn't talk to me about and, like, really shut me out. And it was, like, really hurtful because he wouldn't talk to me. And then he'd be like, oh, I talked to my sister today about this. And I was like... You talk to your sister about this and you won't talk about this to me? Yeah. It almost felt like the same way. It's like it's like a betrayal. Like, you're talking to other women about this, but you're not talking to the one person that you should be confiding in. You know? Yeah, it was really hurtful.
So that is hurtful.
Yeah.
When you think, I mean, I wouldn't rather either one. Like, but but if I don't know if I had to pick one, I don't know what I would pick still. The emotional cheating or the physical. If I had to pick one.
Probably emotional.
Probably emotional.
I don't know. Yeah,
you would pick emotional.
No, I'm saying for you, because I think for men,
the physical.
We've talked about how you're territorial, you don't want to touch your lady. Yeah, you guys whispering sweet nothings to her, fine.
Right. Don't touch her though. You can say what you want.
Yeah, I think for me, I'd probably rather the physical.
And that's what most women I hear to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because then something's wrong, you know?
Yep, because that's when they think, because they know something's wrong at that point.
Because men always want a variety, right? Like they're always going to want to sleep with someone else, no matter how great your life is in the bedroom. Right. But emotionally, if you can't rely on me for your emotional needs, something's wrong. You know, I totally get it.
Agree.
If you want a brunette tomorrow night, I get it. You know what I mean?
Right. But come to me when you want to talk about so and so and so.
Yeah.
I think that's how women are wired, though. They're wired with that emotional. You know what I'm saying?
Men are physical, women are emotional. It's just the science. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. Do you want me to tell my story I was telling you before?
Yes. Yes. Tell me that.
So I cheated once.
Then we'll end it.
Yeah, but it was. I had a celebrity hall pass. So it was a little different, but it was.
Explain a celebrity hall pass for our listeners.
Well, it's kind of funny because I found a loophole. So when before the night he asked me to be exclusive, before he did. I said, who would your celebrity hall pass be? He was like, Rihanna. Who would yours be? And so I said, my favorite singer, who I know. He didn't know I knew him. Right. But slick, right? So technically it wasn't cheating. Right. So that night actually because we had that conversation about the hall pass, he goes, so does that mean we're exclusive? And I was like, do you want to be? And he was like, yeah, I'm not dating anyone else. And I said, me neither. It was just like you were saying, right? It was heading in that direction. So 3 months later, the singer I was talking about comes to town and stays at my place. Wow. I have been trying to get with this guy for 7 years. Oh my goodness. This guy, like we're talking about soulmates. I felt like he was one of my soulmates. Like he was the person who inspired me just to be a better person. Like he was the reason I wrote my first book because he was just living his dream, and he's so passionate about what he did. And I was like, and he was the reason I left my ex in Boston because I was like, I'm starting to feel this way about this guy who I don't even know. And I don't feel this way about my ex. My ex doesn't inspire me. I'm not.
It wasn't the F yes.
Wasn't the F yes. So I got to know, I stalked his band so much over the years that we became friends. Yeah. Made him be friends with me. And then I met an author through him. Okay. That had written a rock and roll love story. So the character in this book is inspired by this singer. Right. So I wrote a whole fictional character kind of based on him, and it's basically basically a fictitious story about if someone like me was going to end up with someone like
that. Got you. Yeah. That's cool.
I was obsessed with this guy. But he would not sleep with me, and he slept over multiple times in my bed with me and said no. Serious. And I was like, what? I've never had a man with no clothes on in my bed say, no, I'm good. And I was like, why? And he's a great person, but he said, you're going to want more from me than I can give you, because he's not the guy who's going to go to the East Coast and call me. He's not going to be my boyfriend.
He was honest. That's cool.
He's not going to take me on dates. Right. And it would have ruined the music for me because they are, to this day, my favorite band. Okay. I'm actually going to see them Sunday. Okay. They're fantastic. And it would have ruined the music. Yeah. So he didn't do anything with me for 7 years. I start dating my ex. 3 months later, he tells me he loves me for the first time. So the same band guy? No. My ex. Okay, tells you he loves you for the first time. Got it. So my ex tells me he loves me for the first time. We're in this great place where we're really in love. Because what I want to preface this with is I don't cheat because I'm like you, where I'm monogamous. I want one person. This is the exception that I will say. This guy was There's a disclaimer. Yes, this is my one exception. If it's like your celebrity hall pass and you get that chance, ask your husband or wife if you can do it, okay? Right. Or don't tell them and use protection. Right. Because this is what happens. So the guy stays over, and I was honest with him, and I said, I have a boyfriend now. You can still spend the night, but we'll just go to sleep. And he says, okay. So we go to sleep. And then he made a move, and then I cheated on my ex. Finally made a move after so long. But I think he did because I told him I had a boyfriend, so he knew I was not. I wasn't going to expect anything from him. Okay. Yeah. He said, "Okay, now it's safe. I know she's not going to be tripping." I think so. That makes sense. But also, too, I will say he was on and off with his daughter's mom forever, and when he stayed over that night, he finally wasn't with her anymore. So I think it was both, maybe a combo. Got you. Yeah. But I never told my ex. He never found out, and I never did it again. Interesting. But it was something I had to do because this guy is someone I will love till my deathbed. He's just one of those soulmates, one of those people who are brought in your life for a reason.
So to this day, your ex doesn't know.
Nope.
Wow.
He might if he listens to our podcast, but he's married now to somebody else.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
It's okay. And I had a celebrity hall pass anyway.
Right. That's a crazy story, man.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Yeah.
So years later, finally he made the move.
7 years. Yeah, and we've slept together since then. Now, because now he knows. I think that I don't expect anything from him. Now I know.
Right.
But he's right, because if I had slept with that guy in my 20s when I was naive, and I would have been like, we're gonna be boyfriend girlfriend.
Right.
You know,
and all this stuff.
I would have thought it was going to be something that it wasn't. And now that I'm
older, mature
and
woman, wiser, yeah.
I'm like, he's not boyfriend material.
You can handle it a different way.
And going back to the soulmate thing, people should not always be with their soulmates, because I think he's one of those guys. I love him as a person. I think he's done so much for me mentally, spiritually, creatively. We would never be good together.
Right.
Because he's like a moody musician. You know, I don't think he has anything emotionally to really give a woman. He travels all the time. Like, he's not the type of guy that I would be happy with. Right. So as much as I romanticized it in my 20s and wrote a whole book about it, it's not reality, you know, and I know that now. But it was like a bucket list thing. Like, I had to physically experience him, because I can't even like hug him and smell him without just like wanting to just like Velcro myself to him. Right. That happens. You meet those people and they change your life. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So.
Wow. So what's the consensus? We can forgive cheaters depending on the circumstance.
Yes. If it's like that, if it's a hall pass, if it's a soulmate, you know, a one-off, if it's somebody you have a history with, if that person is really, really remorseful and they want to work at it, great, forgive them. Right. But if it's a serial cheater who they're just having one-night stands for the heck of it,
absolutely not.
No. Yeah. Because they're going to do it again, you know. But it's a judgment call. I mean, every relationship is circumstantial. Yeah.
For the men, I would say, I probably wouldn't, like we say, because we don't want anyone else, you know, touching our girls and stuff like that, because men are very territorial as it pertains to physical intimacy. So I don't think we could. I don't know one guy that's forgiven their person for cheating. I don't know not one.
I think predominantly it's women forgiving men.
Yeah, I think so too. That's I agree. Yep, I agree. I completely agree with that.
But I will say too,
like how Cardi forgave Offset and Beyonce forgave Jay-Z, and I mean, I'm only just relating it to my industry. You know what I mean? Right. To our industry.
But I think those are men in power who are going to do it again. If you're going to cheat on Beyonce, what more do you need than Beyonce?
I actually think he learned his lesson. I think Jay is chilling. So. Yeah, I think Jay is chilling, man. I also think Offset is chilling with Cardi B. I mean, I can go on and on and on.
What more? Like, what's better than Beyonce?
But if you're Jay-Z and you're on that same level, it's all relative.
Sometimes you want something different.
Yep, it's all relative.
But what I'll say too is, if you are married, don't forgive them and stay with them just because of the kids, because it's not healthy. It's not healthy in the long run, and you're going to be raising your kids in an environment that they're going to grow up and have unhealthy relationships. Yep. If they see that. Yeah. So
my whole point was, by bringing that up, is that you're right. It is the women forgiving the men, because I highly doubt it. Had Beyonce cheated on Jay-Z, he'd still be there.
But you know what?
I highly doubt that.
You know what's funny is my ex tried to stay with his ex-wife when he found out that she cheated on him. But it was for the marriage and the kids. Right. It wasn't for her. Right. It was, I think, to save face and save the marriage because he loved his kids. Yep.
Jay-Z would have not stayed with Beyonce for a fact if she cheated.
But it was sad because, like, my ex was like, he like wrote her letters and did all these things to try to get her back. But I was like, it was too late. The reason she cheated is because you weren't giving her what she needed in that relationship. Yeah. You can't give it to her once she's already has a foot out the door. Right. You gotta put in your effort now, every day, before that person finds somebody else. You can't try to backpedal after the facts. Right.
You can't. So what I want to say is, we're not here to tell anyone to forgive or not forgive. I mean, treat your circumstance very particular to what you guys have going on. That's what I have to say. And with those prospective relationships out there, I don't want people listening to our podcast and go, well, Rachel said no. I'm not. You know,
everything's circumstantial.
Did you listen to Imani? He said, if it's a guy, don't do it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day,
I'm not going to say that.
At the end of the day, you have to listen to your gut.
Yeah, listen to your gut.
If you're not happy, if you don't trust this person, if you think they're out doing it again, they're probably out doing it again.
I agree.
You know, just trust your intuition.
Yeah.
And do it and screw what everyone else says. Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Because that's like what my mom did when my sister got divorced because she met her soulmate. My mom threw a fit. My mom Facebooked her new girlfriend and was like, leave her alone. She is married. You stay out of this. You let her work on her marriage. And my sister was appalled. And she said, don't, because her girlfriend actually said, your mom just sent me a message. My sister said, don't read it. And she took her computer.
Right.
And she read the message. She intercepted it. But don't listen to what anyone else says.
Because listen to yourself.
It's not up to your friends or your family. You know what's best for you.
Yeah, and before we go, me and Em was watching Modern Love on Amazon. Have you seen it?
I watched the whole thing. I loved it.
Yeah, you saw the episode when the girl cheated on him?
Which one?
Remember the guy who he had created the
that was my favorite one, I think.
The dating app, and the girl cheated on him, and they got back together, and they got back together.
The zoo.
They got back to they got back together years later after they both went to other people and they saw each other and was like, but they left.
That's what I'm saying. You can forgive
They
someone.
left because she had cheated on him with the ex, remember?
But he forgave her in the end.
He forgave her on the end.
And he should have forgiven her the first time around because
he forgave her at the end because they were soulmates. Yeah. Yeah.
That was my favorite episode.
Yeah.
I actually
M turned me on to that show. Yeah.
I sometimes will put on a few minutes of a show and eat lunch in the middle of the day, and I couldn't stop watching it.
Yeah. I think it was number 4 or 5, if I'm not mistaken.
I thought it was the first one.
No, remember the first one was about the girl who had the baby from the one night stand, which I love that episode too. That was the first one, remember? Yeah.
Yeah, and the guy didn't want any part of it.
Right, he didn't want any part of it. That was number 1. Yeah. It was 4 or 5 or something. I can't remember, or 6 even. It was one towards the end. Remember?
I thought it was one of them. Maybe I watched them in a different order.
You probably watched them in the wrong order.
Because I think I watched that one first, and I was like, "Oh, this show is so
Yeah, we actually watched it in order. Yeah,
and then none of them were as good as that one.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh,
yeah." And none of the episodes were actually connected, which was cool. So they were all independent of each other. Yeah, really good.
It made me feel warm and fuzzy. And
it's
Modern
definitely
Love,
a good
guys.
Modern Love, guys. It's a good date.
It's the one with it was the episode with Catherine Keener because I love her. She's in 40-year-old version. Yeah,
it's a good date show to watch.
It's about soulmates and cheating, which goes back to our last 2 episodes.
Oh, that's good stuff. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us for 2020. We're back. We'll see you guys next week. It's Imani, Shakur, and Rachel K. Burke. Keep listening where you get your podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on our SENT Group Digital, and don't forget to follow us on social media.
Follow us on YouTube, guys.
Exactly. We're exposing the truth and broadcasting the lies every week on the sexiest podcast in the universe. We're out. Peace.
Bye.